Hello, in this video I will solve first question from a practice questions for midterm 2. It will be a standard two-sided matching question. We will have, as usual, we'll have set of men and set of women. I already copied their preferences on my board. You guys can see it on the other screen as well. So let's see what we have. We have 5 men and 4 women. And you can see that everyone rank everyone. Therefore, it's going to be kind of like an interesting problem to consider. All right, so let's see what we have there. The first question is for part A, provide a definition of a stable match. So I'm not going to write much. I'm just going to say what the stable match is to reiterate what we covered in this class. So a stable match, first of all, a match, one-to-one match is you have to ensure that each man is matched with at most one woman, and each woman is matched with at most one man. What it means is that a man can be matched only with one woman or nobody, and the same is true for women. So immediately what we can see here that because we have unbalanced market, we have 5 men and 4 women, it's guaranteed that at least one man will be unmatched here for sure. Just physically impossible to match all 5 in a one-to-one match. Okay, so a stable match is has an additional criterion for imposed on it. So first of all, in a stable match, nobody can be matched with an acceptable partner. You cannot be matched with somebody that you didn't put on your list. Of course, here, since everyone ranked everyone, there is no unacceptable partners, so that's not going to be in play for this particular problem, at least for at the beginning. And now the second element of a stable match is blocking couples. So a stable match is the one where there is no blocking couples. And a blocking couple is a man and a woman who would rather be with each other than with their current matches. And their current match can be, for example, some other person, or it can be being single. Whatever is your current position. So if you propose a match, one-to-one match, so you for each man and for each woman you describe who is matched with whom, you shouldn't be able to find a couple that will essentially run away and be together than what you are assigning this couple to. All right, so that's what stability is. And let's move on to solving part B, which is a man proposing deferred acceptance. So we're running man proposing DA, deferred acceptance algorithm. So the same question can be asked in a different ways. So here I just ask you, find an outcome of man proposing deferred acceptance algorithm. The same question can be asked, for example, by asking you, find the man optimal match. Because by definition, the man optimal match is the best stable match for man, and we have a result saying that man proposing deferred acceptance will produce a man optimal match. Yet a different way to ask the same question, I can ask you, instead of finding man optimal match, I can ask you, let's say, find me a woman pessimal match. A woman pessimal match, the worst match for women, by theory, on a set of stable matches, the interests of two sides are completely opposed. Therefore, what's best for one side is absolutely the worst for the other side. So a woman pessimal match, the worst match for woman, is the best match for man. That's a man optimal match. That's a match that you can find by running man proposing deferred acceptance algorithm. Okay, so let's go through this exercise. Let's see, I think that will be the best position. So when men are proposing, again, I like to capture the state of the market for women. So essentially see who is currently matched with for each woman after each round of proposals. So in round 1, all men propose to women. So notice that W1 and W3 are kind of as only women who is going to get proposals. So W2 and W4 didn't get anything. W1 receives 2 proposals from M1 and M3. She says tentative yes to M1, rejects M3. So W1 is M1. Okay. And for W3, W3 receives 3 offers, M2, M4, M5. So she keeps M4. M4 is the best, it's actually her second best choice. So W3 keeps M4 here. Okay, so that's what happens after the first round of proposals, that 2 women are tentatively matched, 2 women are not, and we have 3 unattached men. Notice we are going to have a lot of rounds here because at least one man have to exhaust all the options. So it will take us some time to get there. All right, so now next round we have, so let's mark who already burned some options. So M1 is matched, but let's say M2, kind of, what's the best way to do it? Let's just highlight it that he proposed already. M3 also proposed already. M4 is still here, and I'm just marking the burnt options. So M5 burned W3 already. All right. So in the second round, we have M2, M3, and M5 proposing to the second choice. All right, so let's figure it out. So first of all, M5 will propose to W1, and W1 would actually says yes to M5. So M5 here, and we already will mark that M1 burned his first option. Now for M4 is not proposing anywhere, he is matched. M1 is not proposing anywhere, he's matched. M5 proposed, so M2 and M3 propose to W2 and W4. Those are unoccupied. So M2 here, M4 here, and M4 proposes to, no, not M4, M3 is proposing here. Okay, so that's our round 2. Okay, and now it will be easier because we only have one person who is unmatched, and that's M1. So he will propose to W2 now, and W2 will say no to him because it's his last choice. W2 already has M2 on tentative hold. So in round 3, we still have the same state of the market. Nothing really happens. But what happens is that M1 burns this option. And then next round, M1 proposes to W3. W3 would actually say yes to him because that's her first choice. Okay, so round 4. So W3 receives a new offer from M1. The rest are exactly where they are. M3. And so as a result, so who was dumped? M4 was dumped, so now he's no longer here. So he burned this option. So next round, M4 proposes to W4. W4 already has M3 on hold, so she doesn't reciprocate. So kind of in round 5, nothing happens. And M4 just burned this option, so he proposed to W4. Next round, M4 proposes to W1. She actually says yes, because that's her first choice. So M4 goes here. Sorry, who was proposing? Why is that? Okay, it's M's. No, sorry. Let's see. Why? No, W4 didn't say yes to, so that's M3 here, sorry. That's why. So M4 burned this option, so now he proposes W1. W1 actually likes him a lot, so she says yes. So it becomes M4 here, M2, M1, M3, round 6. So we keep working through this algorithm. And now it's time for, so M4 is matched with this, and so the person who is unmatched is M5. So M5 goes, he currently matched, he was dumped by this, W1, therefore he proposes to W2. W2 currently matched with M2, so she doesn't like M5, so nothing happens. So we have M4, M2, M1, M3, and I'm running out of space. So M5 just burns this option. And finally, M5 proposes to W4. W4 is matched with M3. Therefore, it's better than M5. Therefore, M5 burns the last option. So essentially in round 8, nothing again happens with this list. And we are done now because there is no, this man are already tentatively attached and this man burned through all these options. Therefore, what we see there is a man proposing match. So let me write it here at the top. And I will organize it by man. M1 is matched with W3. M2 is matched with W2. M3 is matched with W4. And M5 is matched with nothing, single. Sorry, there was a M4 there as well. So M4 is matched with W1, M5 single. Okay. Let me check solutions. M1 W3, M2 W2, M3 W4, M4 W1, M5 single. Okay, so it seems to get exactly where intended. All right, so what we let's just go through this and mark, write down who got whom in it. So M1 is matched with W3. M2 is matched with W2. M3 is matched with W4. And then M4 is matched here. So those are matches for men, and we know that's men proposing, that's the best partners they can get in this matches. So notice that nobody gets their first choice. Some people didn't get even their second choice. Now for women, let's also mark who is matched with whom. So W1 is actually matched with M4, which is her number one choice. W2 is matched with M2 here. W3 is matched with W3 is matched with M1, first choice, B2, and finally W4 is with M3. Is that correct? W4, M3, it's here. Okay. Is that, let's, W1, M4, W2, M2, W3, M1, and W4, M3. Okay. So that's how this match looks like. Now, you might be worried that it kind of took me a lot of time to go through the steps and kind of tedious. Don't expect kind of that big of a size, that big questions on the tests. On tests, I actually want you to test your knowledge rather than like tedious, very tedious skills. But so that's why I'm intentionally give you bigger questions for practice. Okay, so we are done here with part A. We just found a man proposing deferred man optimal match for man optimal stable match. So in part C, we will be doing the same thing for women. Okay. And again, I will repeat that there is multiple ways for me to ask this question. I can ask run women proposing deferred acceptance. It can be find woman optimal match. It can be find man pessimal match. That's all equivalent. Okay, so now we will capture the state of the market for men. Okay, and it's actually going to be an easy one. In round 1, women propose to their first choices. So W1 proposes to M4. W2 proposes to M3. And then the reason I write it because I can see that there's only one, each woman only gets one offer. Each man only gets one offer. So W3 proposes to M1, and W4 proposes to M2. M5 doesn't get any offers. Well, the question, so that's what happens in round one. So there are 4 men, they received 4 offers. They all were acceptable. They say tentative yes. We go into round two. In round two, well, all women are tentatively attached. There is no offers. There are no offers that can be made. We're done. So essentially, there's only one round of women proposing deferred acceptance. And naturally, because there's only one round, women got all women got their first choices here. Okay, therefore, so let me write it down as well. So then, organized by men, M3 got W2, M4 W1, M5 single. So notice that the matches are quite similar. M1 got the same partner, M4 got the same partner, and M5 stayed single in both of them. So the fact that M5 is single, remember, that's actually important. That comes from that's what we should have expected to begin with. According to rural hospital theorem, the number, if you're matched in one stable match, you'll be matched in all other stable matches. Therefore, if you're single in one of the stable matches, you will have to be single in all other stable matches. So we knew that M5 will stay single for sure. So now let's mark, so that was the circles were men proposing. Let's mark women proposals as well. So M1 got W3 in both matches, and M4 got W1 in both matches. Now for M2 got W4 here, and M3 got W2 here. Okay, and for women, they got their first choices. All right. So V4, M1. Yeah, that's something we don't know. That's something we don't know. All right. So that's what are the matches. And we solved part B and C. And we sort of roughly compared these two matches. So now let's go and solve other parts. I want to keep all of this because it's going to be incredibly helpful for the next questions. So achievable partners for M1. So part D, achievable partners. So for M1, so who is achievable for M1? So let's look at M1, and here what we see, that when men were proposing, he got W3. When women were proposing, he got W3. So what we can say about W3, well, that it's his best achievable partner. And also it's his worst achievable partner. It's best achievable partner because that's what he's getting in a man optimal match. It's his worst achievable partner because that's what he gets in a when women are proposing, in a woman optimal, in a man pessimal match. So the fact that your best partner is also your worst partner, it's not a impossibility. It literally just means that you only have a single achievable partner, because that's the only way for this to be your best partner and the worst partner at the same time. So for M1, W3 is the only possible partner. So in all stable matches, all stable matches will have these two people as a couple. Okay, for M2, actually I haven't verified. Okay. So for M2, let's look at M2. All right, again, we can look at what we see here. And again, it's very clear what happened. So W2 is his best achievable partner. W4 is his worst achievable partner, which means that, well, first of all, these two must be achievable to him. It automatically means that W3 is not achievable because otherwise he would get her in a man-optimal match. The fact that he got W2 means this must be non-achievable. Furthermore, W1 cannot be achievable partner because his worst achievable partner is W4, because this is the woman he gets in woman proposing match. So anything outside of this circle and square must be unachievable. But inside we can tell, but here there is nothing inside, right? So we know that W2 is achievable, W4 is also achievable. And we know that the others are not. So that's also easy. And finally, we need V4 for woman. For V4, M2 and M3 are achievable. Okay, so let's see for V4. It's a little interesting here. For V4, let's look here. So her best achievable partner is M2, her worst is M3. Therefore, we can conclude that M2 achievable, M3 achievable, M5 and M4 are unachievable. So write down M2, M3. And so the only question is M1. So we cannot apply this argument that we used before, kind of eliminating anyone on the outsides of this to thresholds, because M1 is in between. So what we can tell? Well, what I would recommend there is to look for this guy, because we might have already said something about this guy. And look, we actually discussed this guy. And we proved that for M1, the only achievable partner is W3, which means that M1 cannot be achievable for W4, because in every stable match, M1 is matched to W3, right? Therefore, they cannot be a stable match where W4 is matched with M1. Therefore, that's it. Okay. So I forget to mention definition of what achievable partner is. So a partner is achievable if there exists a stable match where these two people are together. So that's a definition. Okay. Now finally, let's talk about part E. Suppose that the man proposing deferred acceptance is used for matching, exhibit a player who can gain by deviating from truthful ranking. Okay, let me do part E as well. Let's actually discuss both men proposing and women proposing. Because I think on a practice test on a canvas, I actually kind of enlarged this question. So it's men proposing first. Men proposing. So who can gain by misreporting their preferences? So the first thing to remember is that only side that receives offers can have a profitable deviation. People who proposing are in the best position. There is no reason for them to deviate. So when men proposing is used, men are perfectly fine. Nobody can gain by deviation. Only women can gain. Now there is also a second step here, is that only women for whom it actually can make a difference can benefit from it. If you look at, for example, W1, there's absolutely no point for her to deviate, because her best achievable partner is also her worst achievable partner. Therefore, the only deviation, there is absolutely no need for her to deviate. Of course, she would like to have, instead of when men proposing, she gets her worst partner, but that's also her best partner. So what to complain here? The women who can deviate, though, are the ones for whom there is a difference. So we should be looking at W2 and W4 here, because W2, when she proposes, she gets M3. When she's being proposed to, she gets M2. So when men are proposing, she gets her second choice. she might get her first choice by deviation. So people who can deviate is W2. And the way she would deviate, she would simply say, I mean, usually questions don't ask you that, but for example, for W2, she could say, well, I'll just report M3 and that's it. M3 is the only person for me. That's her end of her list. And if you were to rerun the men proposing deferred acceptance, you will find out that then W2 actually gets M3 after this deviation. Okay, and anyone else? Well, W4 are in exactly the same position. When she is proposing, she gets M2, but when she doesn't being proposed, she gets M3. So what she can do is say eliminate her lowest achievable partner M3 and just report M2. So W4 is also can do that. So for example, she can also just report her first match M2, that's achievable partner. So when men are proposing, that's also will be a deviation. So to answer this question, who can gain? Notice that on a canvas, it's pretty hard to ask you kind of for exact deviation. So I actually usually just ask this question, tell me who can gain. And to answer this for men proposing deferred acceptance, the answer should be, well, first it must be women, and then it must be women who actually has something to gain, and that's W2 and W4. W1 and W3 has nothing to gain from deviation, they're fine. So this is the women who can deviate. All right. Okay, so let's actually also discuss women proposing. So that's not something that's been asked, but just for extra practice. So for women proposing, again, your reasoning should be when women propose, there's no reason for women to do anything, not to report their preference truthfully. They're on the proposal side, they're perfectly fine. The mechanism works in their favor. Who will be deviating potentially is men, and it also has to be men who can gain something. And you can never get somebody by deviating, you can never get an unacceptable partner. That's not up to you. So what you could though do is switch between your acceptable partners. So again, M1 and M4 will be men who cannot do anything about, who cannot gain by deviation because their best achievable partner is also their worst achievable partner. So they are perfectly fine. Men who can gain is M2 and M3. Of course, M5 cannot do anything. He's been rejected by anyone. Doesn't really can do anything for him. So here we have M2 and M3. So these two guys, because when they're being proposed to, they will get their third choices. If they deviate and report these people as unacceptable, they will actually end up with their second choices. So that's what will answer to part E for if I were asking it for a woman proposing mechanism. All right, so that's the end of this question.